Okay. All should be good. And so, as an aside for last time, we started with Shad and Ignis downed by the vicious giant Wolverine as the others kind of came to your aid. Settling in by the stream, you all took some time, patching up your wounds as best as you could. While waiting, you would hear noises coming from the other side of the valley. Marching boots approaching. Escucho, you would quickly hide, while the others would have stayed obvious and open by the stream's edge. As the company of warriors crested over the hill, Escucho, you were the first to recognize the banner that they flew. The Vandal Order. This was a company of warriors from long ago, who used to serve one known as the Pale Queen, a tyrant solemn of old, long past. As the warriors approached, they broke ranks, settling in on the other side of the stream themselves, refilling their water skins, basically doing normal, traveling things. Noticing that a few of you looked to be in rough shape, one of them would have approached the leader of the group, kind of apparently. One thing that was quickly apparent about these warriors was that they seemed quite young. I mean, their armor looked as if it would have been passed down, kind of like from their father's father, right? Like their great, grandfather's armor, right? Like very old, very not in style, I guess you could say. Each one kind of adorned with various trinkets and adornments hanging from like the shoulders and the chest. After healing you up a bit, they would have continued on their way. The last observation you all would have made was that despite being incredibly young, appearance, at least of all of these warriors, they kind of moved like battle-hardened veterans, right? There was no waste to their movement. Before leaving, they would inform you all that not long from where you were, the solemn Valdiras was camping himself. Deciding not to miss on the opportunity, you would all continue on the path, despite the sorry state a few of you might have been in, injured and roughed up from the encounter. Meeting with and seeing Valdiras in person, you would have noticed a second figure with him. It turned out to be Shad's old mentor. Surprised and scared, but Shad, you still kind of pushed through it. The solemn Valdiras himself spoke of a few things, musing kind of on the state of the world, indicating a coming change, one of grand scale. The slumbering ones were awakening. The hungering star, the creature that destroyed Dukan, this would have all been connected in his eyes. He never spoke directly about whether or not this change would be positive or negative, just, merely stating that it was on its way. Escucho in particular kind of saw this as a sign of, what would you say, like deep religious import? Your personal beliefs almost fanatical, right, in nature, kind of riling up at the mention of all of this. You would have all finished your conversation peacefully. Valdiras himself basically stopping anything from happening to Shad or the rest of you, I guess, for that sake. As you parted, Hercine, you let it be known that you were hunting or searching for dragons. This seemed to amuse Valdiras, who dismissed your search, But as you were walking away, you would have heard
it's
quietly.
Like a curse, but there is hope for you yet.
Jesus, you would have heard quietly said from Shad's mentor to Valdiras to not be so sure of that, which seemed to catch Valdiras off guard. You returned to the wagon, the horses having had a chance to graze upon the wild growth left in Valdiras' wake had changed physically. They seemed larger, seemingly kind of stronger. The muscles of the horses were very obvious. You all jumped onto the wagon and off you went back towards Valdiras, finishing up, having gathered the amount of regents and everything that you had needed. You were good to go. The horses stronger and faster, kind of pulling the wagon at a much faster speed than they were previously able to. Just as it was about to get dark, you had all made such good time that you reached back to the rest house along the path that you'd stayed the previous evening. Now, there's a few things that is aware, or at least aware to at least one of you, right? Particularly Escucho. Last time you were here, there was a dead body that you stumbled upon, you found, you left, kind of unbothered. and you all left before it seemingly became apparent. But as you pull up now, all right, you see it's getting dark. I mean, the horses are moving at a fast pace. I mean, you could probably get, even further if you kind of push it for the evening. The horses don't seem like they are in any negative state whatsoever. I mean, they look like they are completely fresh, as if they haven't been running at a incredible pace so far. But you could also take the chance to rest in a rest house, get a bed to sleep in, and maybe make amazing time the next day. So it all just kind of depends. It's unsure. So as you kind of pull up, there is a conversation to be had on whether or not you should stop, I suppose. And we can begin there. Let me get some music going, and feel free to go ahead. So right. So as you pull up, the horses, as I said, completely fresh, rearing to go, if anything. But it is getting dark. And the last times you've kind of camped out in the wild did not necessarily go so well for you, right? So there's a few things to keep in mind, but go ahead.
Who's driving wagon?
You would be, actually. I think that was determined from the very beginning. You were the only one with any type of decent nature check. So it was automatically regulated. Yeah.
So. Yeah, but
who's driving?
Yeah, who's driving?
Yeah.
Like Scrooge was like, by the way, in a very good mood. He's whistling like little marching songs, like songs that sound a little bit like marching songs. He's just like having a fun time, driving the wagon. But when he sees the rest house resting over the horizon, he turns to the group and, what about you guys? Do you think we should make more time or spend the night?
Well, the horses can go all night, but we should probably rest. I think we still need to catch up on sleep. It's better to be. We wouldn't want to be caught by something unawares on the road when we're sleep deprived, right? Just a thought.
Is there any sign of that gang of soldiery that came marching past?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the pace that you were going, you would have quickly caught up to them and kind of passed them by.
So they're behind us now.
Yeah, they would have definitely been behind. The horses are moving way too fast, right? And this is a company of warriors, which is a few hundred of them. So they have to, their march, even at the fastest paces, it's nowhere gonna contend with the speed of a horse. Even a regular wagon, you would have overtaken them regardless. So seemingly they're behind, right? You would have kind of gone past them. Was there any interaction that you wanted to have with them in particular as you caught up to them? You can kind of recon what's happening here and kind of draw back a little bit as far as the travel time goes. Yeah, you would have passed them by, and they would have just made space on the road to allow you to quickly whip by them if needed. Maybe the warrior, the leader of them, would have just kind of given you all a nod, of recognition as you passed, but they would not have looked to intercede on your path or anything like that.
Well, I would say we're carrying a fair valuable cargo now. Perhaps safe haven is the better option in the hours of darkness.
And perhaps we can use this occasion to celebrate. I mean, we are basically successful. We've had great news. Chad, you're free. Isn't this just a wonderful day?
You are surprisingly much more cheerful than a day ago.
Yeah, of course I am. Haven't you heard the great news? Valdiras had said so. The hungering star. It's all connected. It's gazing into the distance.
The great news. Were we listening to the same thing? I heard prophecy of fire and ruin. That's what?
Yes, great change is upon us. Isn't that wonderful?
I'm gonna go get a drink.
so,
You know, Doctor, that's the first good idea I've had in many days.
Yeah, definitely. Let's all get 1 or 2 or 3 drinks and just celebrate.
But you know, not Hurston, please,
I'm good
not
on drinks.
not what you took last time, please. I know they said you didn't die, but I'm still fairly certain you died.
Just looks questioningly.
So I think we I think like Scrooge would like pull over. And, like,
okay.
put the
Yeah.
thing in
So
the table.
you'd make for the you would make for the rest house, right? Wanting to call it an evening, wanting to sleep in a good bed, and in a particularly upbeat mood, right? Cheerful. Look to maybe even have a drink or two. So.
By the way, guys, completely slipped my mind. I think last time the one guy was killed or something, but doesn't really matter now. We can just celebrate. It's just
Sorry,
such a great day.
What and where?
Like you see this window, like in this window in this room, the hooded figure with the book and stuff was there across the room when we were first here.
And you saw this?
Yes. I broke into the room to check if there's anything interesting, and he was dead.
Agnes is just gonna do a literal facepalm. I'm cursed. I'm fairly certain I'm cursed. Did you take anything from the room? Did you didn't touch or take anything from the dead man's room, right?
No, I was just curious about the book, but the other patron was already stealing a horse and riding towards the city, rather. But that all doesn't really matter now, does it?
Sure. Maybe just hold off on talking about this to the tavern owner.
I think he already knows, but maybe not.
He knows that someone died. He doesn't know that we know that someone died, and that one of us actually saw the thing happen. Again, this is just I need a drink. Okay, let's.
All right.
You wouldn't be saying that he doesn't know that we know that he knows that we know.
Jesus Christ.
I think we just know enough because we know the one thing that truly matters.
That the great ones the slumbering ones are returning. That's
exactly, Ignis. You get it now.
Actually, I'm gonna have what Hurston had.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Did you put down a down payment last time we were here, Doctor?
Yeah, I think maybe like we overpaid, so we should be okay for that. Let's talk to the tavern keeper and see what's what. If you spot any new faces, feel free to gather some information if you like. I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna do when we get back, and I'll talk to the tavern keeper and get his version of what's happened in the day since we left.
Okay.
Oh, this should be grand. What if you think he's dead? Let's get a second opinion.
All right. So,
and he's gonna point at Chad and go like, just stay out of the guy's room, please. That's some taboos are taken seriously, and you're not as sneaky as Escucho, so if you get caught, things go much worse for us. Just sit, have a drink, be as merry as Escucho is, I guess.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I was talking about you diagnosing the barman.
Not gonna diagnose the Right. So yeah, he's gonna just like exhale this, and then head over to talk to the tavern keeper. And
All right.
gets like just info on whatever happened in the past day or so, and
Fair
check
enough.
if they need to pay more or whatever.
Perfect. So, all of you give me a perception check as you pull into the rest house, right? You'll notice a few things without this check. There are a couple of wagons here now. So it seems, at least compared to the last time, that there are definitely going to be more patrons this evening. Now, whether that affects your ability to have a room for the night, you'll have to remains to be seen. But there are a couple of wagons which, you know, there weren't previously. At a quick glance, I mean, you'll see the whole idea of this these rest houses kind of being like a complete safe space is on well display, because there are items as such, like, you know, basically kind of you know, gathering items. I mean, it looks like things that people would typically try to make safe are just kind of left in the back of this cart. Not like armor and weapons or anything of that, you know, nothing that important, but like even like special items like shovels, you know, all types of things like that are all just kind of left, you know. Sacks that look to be full of something are kind of left in the back here as well. So as you pull in, wow, so Ignis, Hercian, and Escucho, the three of you absolutely notice this. These wagons seem to be full of the regions that you two have also been able to gather. The what you have in your wagon is 4 sacks, pretty heavy, you know, heavy sacks that are full, and 2 large barrels of this of these various medical and kind of spellcasting regions. You get the feeling, or at least on a quick glance, seeing all the stuff that's left in the back of this card, some of it as well. Some of it is very obviously sacks of the same stuff that you have all come together. So it seems now, at least in the past day, the lead that you had on the crowd, you know, all coming to kind of gather and collect and, you know, make their you know, fortune with collecting this stuff is well, they've caught up now, right? At least a couple of them, you know, all early comers at the very least. And so as you settle in, you know, get the horses set, pull them to the side, you all make your way into the rest house. So as you enter in, there are indeed various groups inside, each sitting at their own table, very festive, very cheerful themselves, right? They're having drinks, they're eating food. I mean, it seems like these are people who all, you know, in their own way feel like they've hit the jackpot, so to speak, right? Like they're celebrating in that manner, right? There's, you know, there's nothing to worry about anymore. You'll hear words like, you know, we are set for life, sort of things, right? Like, you know, after this we're done, right? We don't have to, you know, making plans what to do with the gold when they get back and when they're able to kind of sell all this stuff off, you know. The value of this stuff, I mean, it had been kind of stressed to you previously, but I think in this moment, for the 4 of you hearing it now, it is much more prominent than even your original kind of intuition would have told you, right? It seems like with as much as they're talking about it and the way that they're speaking about it, I mean, this might be like genuinely life-changing. This might be the cost of this stuff that you have a ton of, you know, in the back of your wagon is quickly becoming apparent, much more valuable than you had guessed at, despite knowing it was very important. So make your way in. A few people inside will kind of, you know, raise their drinks to you, almost like just your arrival is enough for, you know, to continue on in the celebration. One of the drunker ones will kind of stumble up and kind of start to approach you all as you kind of bundle in by the entrance, as you all kind of funnel in one at a time. He's kind of older looking. You can tell just at a quick glance, I mean, this guy looks like he has lived a rough life of, you know, farming and, things of that nature, right? Like his hands are thick. You can tell he has worked the fields for quite a long time. And so as he kind of approaches, he kind of like drunkenly just kind of, proclaims to the rest house itself, drinks all around for the newcomers, right? And he'll kind of throw himself forward. Who would have been the first one in? Go ahead and pick.
Well, I think Escucho's like, if it's all right, he's like quite high. Be the first one in. That's
Okay,
all right.
Yeah. So this guy,
and when he's stumbling forward, I would actually like want to go up to him and hug him.
Oh yeah, he goes in for it, and as you like you come in and you hug him, he's like, oh yeah, he's all for it. He grabs you,
It's a great day, my friend. It's so great.
Absolutely, it is. It's a very wonderful day. We all here, you too, if you would like to be. We all here are rich forever. And he just kind of like turns, he hugs you, he looks back at the rest of the three of you, Hercian, Ignis, and Shad, and he kind of like hugs. You see him hugging Escucho. You three, give me a perception check here, really quick.
I think my man's about to get pickpocketed.
Come on, guys.
Again.
Shad wants that hug.
Shad wants that hug. Okay. Does Shad open his arms like hey, come on, bring it in? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, come here, fella.
Yeah, you see. I mean, his face is like cherry red. Like it's bright from having maybe the sun, but also maybe as many drinks as he's had. So as he kind of hugs Escucho, he kind of lets go, and then he'll just like quickly move past and give Shad a hug as well. Just kind of lean in. Let's go to the bar, drinks all around, and people inside the tavern as well, but just kind of shift their focus, and there's like a lot of hurrahs. Go ahead, Shad.
Shad will say to the guy, "Oh, is that your scabbard poking me in the leg? Are you just pleased to see me?"
This gets a laugh out of the guy. Jesus Christ. He'll kind of laugh with you, and he kind of turns, stopping like the chest to chest kind of hug portion of it, and he'll kind of turn his arm. He kind of keeps it draped across your shoulders, right? He's reaching up. I mean, you're much taller than him, right? This guy's a little bit shorter, but he kind of he leaves it up. He's like resting it on, and he's kind of pulling you into the rest house, right? Trying to show you to the bar essentially, but as you make this as you ask this question, he laughs and he says, "Oh, don't worry about that. You'd know it if it was the real thing, right?" And then he just kind of pulls you into the rest house and approaching the bar. He kind of proclaims out to the bartender, who's the familiar bartender. At a first glance, I mean, this guy seems like all right. You see him look up and he kind of recognizes the four of you, and he's kind of nodding his head. But as the guy kind of orders more drinks, right, he's quickly kind of getting to it, and he is making drinks for the entire rest house. The other people who are there, who you haven't had a chance to interact with or anything like that, and he'll just kind of, bring you forward. The lively nature of the interior of this rest house is basically matching the exact kind of atmosphere, or at least the mood that Escucho seems to be in. How is this for the rest of you, though, especially like Ignis, who's kind of like kind of waffly on the whole good news aspect of it? The fact that there are people in here just kind of enjoying life, celebrating in this moment, inviting you in, like, come on, let's have a drink. Does this kind of shift your mood a little bit? Does it kind of pull away from that worrying kind of thought in the back of your head, or does it just further kind of emphasize the terrible news, or at least so far, that you feel you've gotten?
All right. So if I can go ahead. So for Ignis, it's gonna be he's already. One thing is, after noticing all the other wagons with the herbs, he's a little more on edge because he was looking forward to this getting like a little slightly tanked and getting rest, but now he sees this and his mind's somewhere else. He's thinking, you know what, we want to be leaving early. Like his
Okay.
headspace is, you know what, because we're carrying stuff, they're carrying stuff. Like this is like, you're carrying very valuable things, and we are a feast for someone who wants like to scavenge. So for him, he's more wary than he was before, and he's just like very clearly not into celebrating at this one. He's just like his arms crossed, just like glancing around. And if I like, my perception roll will end up really being pretty bad right
That's
now.
terrible,
He's really, really bad. Like he's just like, his paranoia's gotten the better of him basically at this point. But he's just kind of trying to see, like, he probably won't be able to because there's too many people moving around. He's trying to see if there's any branded in the tavern right now.
Oh
He's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
flashing, he's flashing back to like the inciting incident, like, you know, when
Sure.
the stuff that got stolen from what's his face, Lorenzo or whatever his name was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like one of them was Brandon, and he's just like, you know what, he's trying to match it, but like he's just so paranoid right now. It just gets the better of him. So he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna take a, like he's full of nerves at this point. He's like, I'm gonna get a drink, get my nerves down, like stop my hand from jittering, and then properly take a look at the place.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're still kind of on edge, right? That it definitely hasn't alleviated at all. Yeah, knowing like, I guess the implication that like what you have on you is like way more valuable than what you even thought, right? You know, enough to attempt to essentially kill like back in the city, right? Back in Valdiras. So, absolutely. What about you, Hersian?
Harsion is very much so confused about this. On one hand, yeah, everyone should be celebrating about getting the re-age and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, he doesn't know if he should join them considering the news he just heard, right?
Fair enough.
Like, especially since the last time he was here celebrating, he almost died.
Yeah. Dropped unconscious, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Actually,
so he's a bit, he's a bit cautious about joining in the revelry.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, as the bartender kind of sees you, he lights up, right? He notices, he sees you, Hersian, especially, and he'll kind of call out and he'll say like, "That's the one," you know. And you'll see this gets a reaction from a few of those sitting still closer to the bar rather than at their own personal table. They'll just kind of turn and like shock and awe as they see you. That's the one who drank it. That's the one who, you know, he fell right there. You know, kind of pointing to the spot that you had just it's essentially gone unconscious and just slammed into the ground. You know, there's even marks where you would have done it, right? You know, kind of scratches across the floor where you just, you know, slam down your weapon, kind of, you know, scratching the floor. And a few of them will kind of like stand up and they're just kind of like looking at you like in amazement, right? Seeing you, you know, walking now is like a bit of a considering for how much you've drank and the story that's been weaved about you. Seeing you just standing kind of walking in is like, what the fuck, you know, like these people are shocked, you know, in a state of their life, really, you know, holy shit. But this gets a cheer, you know, like this gets a cheer, yes. Persian, hero of the barflies, exactly. You know, the fucking immediately just kind of like you know, one of them like calls you over, like, come here, I'll get you a drink. You know, I want to buy you a drink. Or there's this attitude, right? But either way, but still, you're kind of, you know, pulled inside, right? You're not wanting to celebrate it directly. And Shad, as this is happening, is Shad in a fine mood, or is Shad kind of I know you said you'd be negotiating for a blue cocktail with several items of fruit, and you'll absolutely get there, right? You approach the bar, the bartender immediately kind of, you know, the same thing as last time, right? And I guess several items of fruit, you know, extra fruity this time. So the bartender will whip it up for you, extra fruity, you know.
Look, the bartender will whip it out for me.
Oh, whip it up. Don't worry, he'll whip it up. Yeah. Extra fruity. So but yeah, cut lemon on the side of the glass and the crucial umbrella, as you said. Yeah, all of this will be kind of, you know, quickly put together for you. And yeah, the vibe and the attitude inside the rest house is one of celebration. Everybody in here, as you look around, I mean, seems to be either drunk, very drunk, or on their way at the very least. So, as you all kind
Any
of...
chance does somebody in the bar start singing?
Does somebody in the bar start singing? I don't know. Are you trying to sing? Is that what's going on here?
No, just if there's that kind of atmosphere, Shad might join in and add his own words from time to time.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. So you join a group. Yeah, that, or maybe at the behest of Shad, right? You'll get a group going, right? Maybe would Shad break away from the group and kind of join a random table to do this, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah,
Absolutely.
Shad gets his drink. He's intermingling with the crowd already. You sit down at a table of, all of them look to be workers. Those who have essentially hit their lucky day. And as you kind of sit down with them, maybe you get the urge, or you urge them on to kind of start singing a song, and absolutely drunken songs start to kind of fill the air. And so you sing along with them, adding in your own words on occasion, if you would, Shad. And they're singing...
out in, he pulled and he pulled and he pulled and he pulled, so might see his beat sweat. But the beating drew out even longer, so on which would go first you couldn't bet. That's the one of the verses of his song.
Absolutely. Yeah. You sing out the Ballad of Alvin, and a few of these people are just like, they kind of stop because they don't know the words, right? These aren't people from that region.
The words.
Yeah, so they just kind of, they listen, and then they hear you, and then they'll start to kind of sing along with you, right? Kind of taking the words with, like, as they learn them, joining in on occasion. You're kind of leading, but then eventually enough of them kind of learn the words, from the repeated kind of rhythm, they'll be able to fall in, kind of sing some of the words with you as well. Escucho, you kind of you were hugged, right? And the other one just kind of quickly hugged you, and then went over to Shad and drag him over to the bar and everything. But yeah, this is a room of celebration. What are you doing to celebrate?
Escucho is definitely like joining right in. Like ordering a drink, completely slamming it back, ordering the second drink, and then also like very uncharacteristically for the group. But he's definitely socializing. He's talking with others, like hugging other people. He even sings one or two lines in Chad's song.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he's just celebrating. He is having a joyous time doing like nothing of like great effort right now.
Fair enough. Yeah, one of them is a bit younger, and he kind of, you said you kind of go over and you're hugging as well. You're kind of joining in on the festivities. You kind of look you up and down, and he's drunk, right? It's very obvious he's hammered at this point. But he kind of like looks you up and down, or makes note, I guess, of your attire. And then there's like a confused look on his face, and he goes, "Are you here for the regents and stuff as well? That's worth quite a lot. It's right outside the door. You can go pick it with your hands right now."
Yes. The regents are the one thing, but haven't you heard the great news about the Hungering Star?
What?
Great change is coming. It will be so great. Finally. I'm so happy right now. Here, have a drink on me.
Yeah. He's like looking. He's like, huh? And he gets like his eyebrows furl up. Like he's drunk, so he's like, But at the moment, like he stops him for a second, but you see that he's like listening to what you're saying, but he's confused by your words until you just like offer the drink, and he's like, oh, okay, and then he just kind of takes the drink, and he'll kind of join in that way. Hercian, as you've been kind of commanded to come towards the bar, right? We've got the drinks for you. Someone wanting to buy you a drink. How is Hercian reacting now? Like, you are a
mounting.
Yeah, you are a drink legend, in this moment.
Well, unfortunately, Hercian is not well versed in the ways against peer pressure. So he'll cautiously sit down and kind of yes, that was me.
you know, some of them ask like, what was it
Yeah.
like? I mean, you drank that? Like, oh man, you know, I've known people to drink it, but they were hard individuals. This is, you know, like, you know, to having drank as much as you did, right? And this is like the kind of conversation that's happening.
Yeah.
And the bartender will kind of grab at the bottle from behind the bar and kind of, you know, show it off. And he's showing, he's kind of showing as he tilts the bottle a bit towards the light, so you can see the line on the inside, how much has been drawn from this bottle, you know. He's like, look, you know, it was here, you know. He's kind of pointing at where it used to be and now where it is. And you know, some people are like in disbelief, there's no way, do it again, you know.
No.
Yeah.
You get cut off with a no.
Yeah, you cut them off and they laugh, right? You know, this kind of throws them back in laughter, you know.
Yeah.
Well, just a little bit then, just a little bit, the right amount, you know. And the bartender will kind of line up a few drinks, and he will pour, and as he pours, it's like a, you know, it's basically like a small, like a thimbleful of, you know, liquid is the actual amount that's, you know, the right amount, as they say. So he'll set a few on the bar, and a few of them, this kind of stops this activity here, you know, like people are like, you know, like they're readying themselves for what they're about to do. There is a drink in front of you, Hersin, if you would participate, but this is, again, much smaller amount than last time. And a few of them are kind of looking at you, like waiting, like, is he gonna do it? Like, are they, you know, they've got their hand on the drink.
He's thinking it over, but he hears a little nagging voice to his side.
Conversion, just get it down.
Yeah. Shad from the table over, you know, just drink it. Yeah.
Me and Harsian are torn on which way to go with this. Just because I like RNG and I would love it to help inform my role play. Can you roll a diplomacy check?
Me roll a diplomacy check? Let's see.
Either or.
The mounting pressure. I'll say that this as we'll just roll a straight d20, and we'll call it how strongly is this pulling you towards? Is it like, are you like, you know? I mean, you're riding on the chance here, but
oh yeah, he's, you know, everyone's hyping him up, so it wouldn't be very hard, right?
Okay, so.
But, you know, Harsion has some, you know, reservation, right?
Fair enough. Okay,
So it's not like it's easy, too easy.
We'll call it like a +4 circumstance bonus, and we'll say it's like due to, you know, the peer pressure. But so this will be a d20 plus a 4, right? So,
Down in one, chug.
Oh yeah, he's all down for it.
Okay, so Herzen, you grab a hold of it, and they're like, yeah, you know. A few of them kind of react positively. You kind of grab the drink, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and all of you kind of take them back, and immediately it's that same feeling that you had the first time. Although as it goes down and kind of fills the stomach, it doesn't hit as hard as it did the first time, right? It burns, you know. It's definitely not it's not a fun sensation, and it feels like fire is kind of making its way down to your stomach before, like, you know, like a hot coal or something has been swallowed and, you know, traveling its way down, kind of burning the inside as it does. But it's nowhere near like that extreme kind of gut punch of the previous one. So go ahead and make a fortitude saving throw, and they will be making as well.
Oh, I saw that die. I almost hit the one.
Yeah. So you, their fortitude is much weaker. These are normal individuals, so one of them is unconscious. One of them grits it out and kind of makes it, and the third is unconscious as well. So as the drinks go back, right, one of them, the one sitting like directly to your left, you know, kind of grits it out. He's like, ugh, right, you know, like pushing through it. But the other two, the one to the opposite side of you and the opposite side of the person next to you, those two, they kind of like, they kind of, you know, grit their teeth for a moment, and they're already a bit drunk, right? So this is much worse for them. So they're already, in that sphere, and as they kind of drink it, you see them kind of hold on, and then that familiar kind of like body kind of locking up, and then they collapse off the stools that they're sitting on the ground, and this kind of brings the entire rest house into like an uproar of laughter, right? Seeing these two just kind of fall unconscious, and they're like stiff, even as they fall, it doesn't look like they collapse and then rest. It looks like they literally are like frozen in time, kind of falling exactly where they're at. Ignis, all this craziness is happening around you. Escucho is almost out of character for you in this moment, right? Joining in on the celebrations, drinking, talking with the others. Shad is as Shad does, and this is no surprise in the least bit. But even Hercian, who is a bit more kind of timid maybe, or hesitant at the very least in approach, has now kind of, decided to join in on the drinking with the others.
At this point, Ignis is probably gonna tap at the, like, just wave a finger at the bartender to like pour him one shot, because he still hasn't had that drink. He doesn't want to get drunk, but he wants something like strong, just for his nerves. So yeah,
absolutely. Okay,
he's gonna as soon as he gets it, he's just gonna be like grit his teeth, and it's like take the shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bartender will serve you. Kind of moving aside to the others. The others are still laughing and drinking and talking amongst themselves. Shad will point at Ignis, exclaiming that Ignis is a doctor to the group, and this will get like a lot of like, kind of people looking.
So is he.
Yeah, so is he.
The others, they're all doctors. We're all doctors.
We're all doctors.
I may be a highly skilled healer, but you're the real doctor among us. See to those men. It's your hypocrite oath.
So I'm not even going to correct you.
The bartender
will kind of roll a fort save, or
no, not for this. This is
okay.
Thankfully this is not as strong as the other drinks are, right? This is just enough to kind of take the edge off. If you were to have a few more, we would have to look into fort saves, but yeah, so you're kind of off to the side, maybe like you're not directly up with the kind of raucous nature.
Just kind of edging away from the table where all the, like, just going a little, like, he's gonna be slowly edging away to, like, after the shot he's gonna take like a pitcher or a cup or something with a little bit, and just like slink off to an edge where he can kind of observe and just, like, sip slowly. But he's still wounded. He still doesn't feel like he's up at 100%. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's gonna be
Yeah, you look a bit rough, especially because the wounds, especially, right? Like, despite having been seen to previously in the day, and kind of some of the more superficial wounds, right, taken care of, but the ones that are, truly hurting, I mean, they're still there, right? But so as you kind of like slink away from the others, the bartender will kind of approach, and he's kind of in a fun mood, but you'll see him kind of get a little bit serious, right, as he kind of sees you and kind of matches sorry, all right, matches the energy. Almost sneezed there, Jesus. So matches the energy. He kind of brings himself down, right, a bit, in mood, and he will pour you the drink, like, everything all right? Is there anything on your mind?
Something on everyone's mind. I'm not sure my companions are supposed to be this cheerful, considering the news we just heard, and we were wounded pretty severely on our way. So I'm happy they're happy, but I just need to catch my breath and steady my nerves, and then I'm gonna figure out how soon we can leave. Is this much? The reason everyone here is happy is because of what they're carrying, and all this is a safe place, but the road is not safe.
Yeah,
the roads are not safe.
Fair enough. Yeah. The bartender will kind of, nod along, listening to you, kind of doing, the whole bartender psychologist sort of
Yeah.
therapist thing. He kind of leans in. Yeah, well, hey, you guys paid yesterday, so you're all good. The rooms are available. The crowd here has all the rest, though. Everything is full. Hey, you didn't happen to notice anything weird yesterday, did you? Or last evening, by chance? When you guys were here?
No, we slept, we got up. He's like his eyes are gonna perk up a bit, like, did something happen? We woke up, we had to make speed to get what we were trying to get, so
Fair enough.
did something happen? He's gonna ask.
Yeah, he kind of gets quiet, right? Like leans into it, yeah, one of the guests last evening, found himself in a state. Let's say the least. I mean, they're gone. And they seemed a bit paranoid. I mean, you see it on the road all the time. I assumed, they stopped in the rest house, assuming it was safe, which it normally is, right? Nobody would break that tradition, but it seems somebody did last evening. And he's keeping this quiet so that it's just you and him that can kind of hear these words, right? He's saying it really low so nobody else can pick up on it, right? He doesn't want to kill the mood in the tavern. I figured if I saw you again that you probably didn't have anything to do with it, because I don't think you all are stupid enough to kind of come back to the scene of a crime that you committed, especially breaking that tradition. I mean, you didn't seem the type to me, so but I wanted to ask just to see if you'd seen anything.
So in this case, he'd probably say, like, he would like nod along, and he'd say, "No, of course, I am from, I'm from Terius, and I'm working in Valdiras, so I know tradition is the most. These are, if not sacred, these are places where the word means something. So no."
Yeah.
But did you search the room? Did you find anything? Because it could have been someone who snuck in. It's not impossible.
No,
We noticed some, like, again, we've had some bad encounters on the road, so some people might be desperate or foolish enough to break in here if they thought they could get away with it.
I need you to make a deception check, but I'm going to give you a +4 circumstantial bonus because you're doing it really well. You're kind of talking around it, because you do know, right? You know, at least in one regard.
I really need it.
But this would have a +4, so it's a 14 rather than 10. Okay. Yeah, as you're kind of talking about it, right? You're like mentioning, oh yes, it could be somebody from the outside. He just kind of nods along. Yeah. I figured that was the case. He was very paranoid. He had this book with him. He's kind of searching over it. Seemed to have his head down in it, and especially like when you guys arrived, and I just seen him that final moment. He went off to his room, and then today, after you all had left, I was going through things, and I found his body. It seemed like that was the only thing I remember about him was that book, other than the disheveled look that he had. So, but I didn't see that, so I don't know. But I just wanted to ask. I mean, I figured if I saw you again, like I said, it couldn't have been you. Just wanted to see if there was anything you'd seen, because I mean, as you know, right? The Order cares a lot about this type of stuff. Right? They're going to personally involve themselves.
Oh, absolutely. It's the law is the law, right?
Yeah. The rest house is so yeah. He just kind of nods. We've got a room set for them too.
I'll talk to my companions and ask if they saw anything or noticed anything.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, and then we'll see. Once we're back in the city, we'll inform someone in the Order about if there's anything we encounter on the way. that seems like it might tie into this, but it is like, how do I say this? It is a fairly serious breach of the way things should be.
Yeah, and they're already on the way. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate, like, we'll be heading out as early as we can in the morning, because again, there's too many people here with wagons, and we want to reach the city earlier than the
Sure.
rest of the people if we can.
Yeah.
So do you think anyone's going to reach here soon, or by early morning, or will they be
You probably see them on your path. I think it's. Yeah, I doubt.
Seems right.
Yeah, I doubt though. Right. Yeah, they can move fast, but I doubt they'll be here. Yeah, I doubt they'll be here. That fast, right? They can move fast, but not that fast, right? Unless they're traveling. Well,
right,
no.
Right.
No. Yeah.
So as the conversation kind of winds down, he's gonna be like, okay, he's gonna ask for like just like a hot meal or something, or whatever supper is, and then he's gonna say, I'll have supper and then I'll retire, to my room. That's what he's gonna say.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, get a drink. You get the drink that you like, a small, either pitcher or small cup, depending on whichever style you want to go with as far as sipping. And then, a platter of decently cooked food. It's kind of brought out as the platter's brought out. The other drunks in the rest house kind of kick up with that too, like, yeah, bring us food too, right? It appears to them that like these people have they got to the rest house and they just started drinking. They haven't had any food whatsoever, right? So they're right to it. So platters are kind of brought up, passed around for kind of everybody, to engage, like eat. It seems like there's no handle on who's going to pay for what, right? Like everything is seemingly covered, probably in celebration by the various groups in here who are all trying to not necessarily they're not necessarily trying to one up each other. It's just that it's like it's so festive that everybody's like, oh, I got it, no, I got it, because for these guys this is their their lottery, so to speak. Go ahead, Escucho.
Yeah, Escucho like was like celebrating and drinking, and he's probably a bit drunk at this point.
Sure.
And he would actually like climb onto a table and like shout into the tavern. Here, people! Here! And spread the good word. Time of change is upon us. The star, everything, destiny is changing before our eyes, and the old ones will return. Spread the word. But he's obviously drunk, but he's also like preacher-like and
preacher-like
with favor.
Fair enough. They kind of look up and they'll see like they all kind of look up. They're still eating, right? They're still at this point they're very drunk, right? They're much more drunk than any of like you guys are, even though you've like arrived and certainly have had your fill a bit. So. Yeah, as you kind of have this moment, roll me a there's no persuasion, is there? So it's like
yes, performance, society, or diplomacy.
Yeah, I would say diplomacy or performance. Yeah, I would say diplomacy or performance, or even society. I think any of those will work, right? Like in this moment.
I would try my luck with society.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And these people, they're drunk, so you don't get the feeling. You're drunk too, so you're a little, but they kind of like, they kind of like, yeah, the time of great change, exactly. Our luck has changed, everything has changed, things are gonna turn for the better for everybody here, right? And everybody's, like kind of going along with that. They're drinking, so they are like. They're agreeing with you, right? They're kind of open, spouting, and having heard that like sound of agreement and kind of recognition, how does Escucho feel? Because I'm gonna say like you're a little bit tipsy, so maybe you don't get the read that they're like like maybe in this moment you think that they're agreeing like exactly with what you're saying. Maybe you don't get the read that they are they're just so drunk that they'll agree to anything if it's said in the appropriate tone with the you know, the right amount of cheer behind it, right? So yeah, you are kind of, you're up on the table and they're like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's good just like riding this high because like normally, he's like normally like not a people person and now he like everyone like cheered and agreed with him.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
he's a little bit overwhelmed, but the drinks definitely helped there.
Okay, perfect. So, all right. So yeah, and Shad. So despite nursing the cocktail, right? You are sober and you are scanning the bar for people of interest. So go ahead and roll me a perception check. And I'll say with a +2 circumstantial bonus, because you're still maintaining that like allure, like, you know, you're still keeping in with the crowd, but you are keeping eyes on things.
So wait.
Oh,
Oh.
Okay.
What?
Go ahead.
everything.
Yeah, I see everything. Go ahead, Ignis.
Oh no, sorry. Just,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, yeah, scanning around, Shad. I mean, ever the Overwatch in this moment, right? Keeping eyes on, keeping up with the look, right? That you are involved in the festivities, but also, you know, ensuring that you have eyes on everything that is happening in this tavern, or this rest house, I should say. With a natural 20, with a total of 26, you scan around and looking across the faces of many of the people here, what you see is what you get for a lot of them, right? For 90% of them, I should say, right? You know, actually, sorry, for all of them, we'll get to it. Yeah, what you see is what you get. I mean, they're celebrating, they're happy, you know, they feel that their luck has changed, that things have changed for them, and they are in a amazing mood, right? And they're celebrating, right? They're drunk, like they are what they appear to be, for all of them, except for one. The one that stood up, that approached, that hugged both Escucho, and then hugged you immediately after. You look at him, and he is doing it so well, but he is basically doing the exact same thing as you are, right? Whenever he is performing so well in this moment, he is not drunk, but he, to everybody else, could be possibly the drunkest in the room, right? You know, on outward appearance. But you've seen a ton of people kind of fake, you know, fake that whole look, right? And man, he is amazing. The one thing that kind of slips that you're able to draw this from, you know, he keeps like cheering on for others to drink, right? He keeps like, yeah, you know, he's the one who kind of makes this happen. But every time he does, when he drinks back, I mean, he's making it look like he's throwing it back, but he's just kind of going back and maybe even not drinking anything at all. Maybe just holding, you know, the liquid to his lips, but not actually drinking anything. And he'll kind of set it down. And for as long as you watch him, for, you know, we'll say that all of this is happening in an hour, maybe, you know, it's been about an hour or two since you've arrived. Like, you know, all of this is kind of going on in this kind of this over the evening, you know, as it continues. He has not had a refill on his glass whatsoever, or if he has, it's been the exact same one, and it's gone from half full to full, right? So if he is drinking, which he might be, you know, on occasion to really sell it, it's only in small amounts, just enough to kind of give off the impression. But he is doing the same thing that you're doing. He is faking the drink. He is involved in the crowd. He is whipping up this frenzy, but he is sharp. His eyes are scanning just the same way. He is focused in all the same ways. So
I think Shad will put to meander his way back to this individual, stopping at each table and, you know, joining in the revelry, and maybe, you know, if they're singing, he'll clap his hands, and he's just gonna do like a sort of random Brownian motion, sort of meander across the bar to get right next to this individual.
okay. Yeah, so you make your way across the bar, right? You're, you know, joining in, like you said, joining in the festivities, right? Yeah, you know, going to a table, faking a drink with them, or drinking a little bit with them, and then kind of moving on to the next, keeping up the lively revelry. Yeah, and this individual's kind of sitting. He's, you know, looking around, and he looks up at you as you approach, and he tries to put on that same, you know, hey.
And Shad will be doing the same thing with his cocktail.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. And you'll kind of put his mug towards your cocktail, right? You know, like wanting to cheers a drink. And he's slurring his words, but they're not, you know, I mean, you've seen it now. You do not believe the slur, right? You're the slur, Jesus Christ. You don't believe the slur. That's like a double meaning, you know. No, but you don't believe the slurring, right? You don't believe this performance that he's putting on anymore. You see right through it, but he continues to do it. You kind of ask, you know, fumbling over his words, and it's very impressive, you know, very impressive. But he asks, so how's your night gone? Has it been fulfilling as it has been? I assume you are all here for the same as us, collecting the regents and hitting our payday, right?
Oh no, not at all. I'm here for the festive atmosphere, and I'm just here, you know, fairly religious fella. I'm looking for angles.
Angles? You kind
Yes,
of...
I like to see what angles people are playing.
Yeah. Angles, right.
So what's the caper?
What's that?
The caper, the scam. Don't bullshit a bullshitter.
He furrows his brow, and there's like a seriousness that kind of falls from his face, you know, that whole act. But he keeps it up for a moment, right? You know, what do you mean? We're just celebrating the fun and everything, right? It's...
Well, let's just play along so nobody pays us too much attention at all. But what the fuck are you doing here?
Huh. Kind of presses his lips against each other. Kind of swallows, right? Sit down then. And his voice immediately just stone sober, right? You know. And as he says it, he's just, you know, kind of, go ahead, take a seat then. Because he's off sitting kind of by himself, right? You know. He's kind of pulled away from the crowd as well, like in this time, which is strange because you feel like every time you've seen him, he's been with the crowd, but you know, with on watch, right? You've seen how he does it. He kind of approaches for a few moments and then he'll kind of slink away, right? He's like a back and forth kind of approach and leave sort of guy. So sit down then, right? So he tells you to sit down. Do you sit down, or do you still stand over him?
Certainly, as you wish.
Huh.
So, Dad will sit down, not opposite. He'll sit to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what have we got going on here then?
What gave it away?
You never got another drink.
It's a sharp eye. And everything that's happening here. To notice where a man's drink goes and comes from. Yes.
Raises
Good
his glass,
good
jabs on
eyes.
his first drink as well.
Yeah, good eyes. He kind of nods along. You as well then, yeah. Okay. No real scam on my end, to be honest. Just don't want to give any of these the opportunity to take what I've earned. And you see, I mean, looking at him now, seeing, like, sitting right next to him and kind of seeing him with this more sober look to him and everything. It's, yeah, he very much is what he appears to be, right? He looks like somebody who's worked the fields for quite a long time. He's got, you know, large hands that are kind of like thickened by, you know, hard, rough work, you know. Cuts, you know, from whatever kind of farming he does, like whatever tools that he has to use in his day-to-day, right? He looks like very solid. Yeah, he looks like even the shade of his skin suggests that he's, you know, tanned and out in the sun, you know, for many hours a day. So
So you use the lie to me feat to double check on whether he's actually honest.
yeah, one
It's
second.
all about appearances, isn't it?
Fair enough. So if you engage in a conversation with someone trying to lie to you, use your deception to determine whether they succeed. I see. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So go ahead and make the deception check. Or it's your deception DC, so that would be I think the deception DC would be
8.
yeah, that would be 10 plus whatever it is, right? So 18. So they would have to beat an 18 if they were trying to lie to you, right?
Yeah.
And you, listening to his words and checking his, like, physical state as he does so, using lie to me, or not using, this is just the way it is from now on. He slips up. He's trying to lie to you right now because he was trying to, what he's initially trying to do is just sell you on the whole, I just don't want my stuff taken, right? I've worked too hard for it, like, you know, and he looks it, right? But what's his tell? I think his tell is he keeps jumping from I to we, right? Like, you know, I've worked too hard to allow this to happen to us, sort of thing, right? You know, like, it keeps using the wrong phrasing, or I forgot what the fucking term is for it. He keeps using the wrong he's
going from first person to third person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he keeps switching the who he's speaking about. So yeah, you get the feeling he's lying to you as he tries to spin this tale of, like, oh, I just don't want to lose my stuff.
Okay, just to get the lay of the land, is Ignis still in the bar, or is he actually left?
No, he's still in the bar. He's at a corner table, like, just empty, just eating very carefully. Basically,
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Ignis is sober. Perseon is still sober. Yes.
Harrison, yeah, I think would still be sober.
Sober, yeah.
Your suit shows
sober-ish.
trash, but he's still about.
Mhm.
Okay. Just so I've got the lay of that. So with Shad, Shad would like to cast message to how many people can I
You can cast multiple times, no?
Yeah,
Just a
the-
cantrip.
cantrip? Yeah, so I can do it as many times as I want. So he's going to use message cast to Hersian and Ignis and tell them and request them to move towards him subtly because this guy that he's sat with is up to something.
Okay.
And in the meantime, Shad's going to carry on the conversation. Well, it's very, it's a sensible precaution you're taking there. You know, you never know who you're going to come across on the road. And he's just going to keep the guy busy, keep the guy looking at him.
Okay. Yeah. He's continuing to conversate with you. He's like, yeah, you know, I mean, plus, yeah, exactly. Once we get on the road, he steals your talking point from you, right? Like as you kind of bring it up, he attempts to like take it from you and like act as if he's been saying it the whole time, right? He's less good at lying as he is at pretending to be, you know, drunk, essentially, right? He's a much better performer than he is, you know, using actual words to get himself out of, you know, a jam, so to speak. So as he kind of talks, yeah, you know, it's plus on the road, you know, there's there's people who, you know, will definitely take with you. I just want to stay sober, you know, for the evening, so I'm not, you know, hungover tomorrow because we're heading back to the city in the morning. We've got everything, we've come together, right? We're okay, you know. And as he's kind of saying this, Hersian, you and Ignis, I guess the two of you start to
Yeah, he's gonna set aside his plate, just take a final sip of his water or whatever it is he has, and then amble over to where Shad is, as if to just see what's up.
So have we got Ignis nearby? Shad's going to wait until Hersian is there, and really, Shad's looking for Hersian to loom.
Harston is gonna kind of excuse himself from the, you know, small little crowd that is around him. Considering
Yeah.
there's two of them are passed out.
Two of them are passed out. Maybe they've been dragged off to their room by one of them, and there's only one still left there. But he's like a mess. He's like his head is down on the bar, and even as you get up and walk away, like your back is to him. You're not listening, but he's like sitting there, and his eyes are closed, and he looks to where you were sitting, and he's like talking in your direction where he used to be, but you're not there anymore, right? Like he doesn't even recognize you, John. He's like, yeah, you know, he's like trying to continue the conversation, and then he just like collapses his head back onto the bar. So, but yeah, you get up and you start to make your way over and kind of slowly approach. The entire time, this guy is like focusing on you, Shad, right? So he doesn't even see it coming when Hersian kind of gets up and starts to make his way over, or Ignis for that matter, right? So as the two kind of close in, Hersian arrives to the point where you wanted him to arrive before you wanted to do something. So
Okay, now, Squire, this is how it is. I asked you quite politely, don't bullshit a bullshitter, but you can't help yourself. So, my friend here, he could snap your neck within a second, and the fair doctor to your side, well, he could pronounce you dead without you even realizing it be the case.
yeah.
So, what's the scam? And again, Shad is still laughing and joking and waving his hands like he's just having a fine old time.
Yeah. And I'll say that as you approach Hersian and Ignis, the two of you, like you hear the words and they're very much in contrary to the way Shad is kind of portraying it. But the things he's actually saying, right, are exactly what he just said, right? You know, what's the scam, right? You know, all of this. The three of you give me perception checks.
Oh, sorry. I'll give you a ring.
No problem.
Pretty good for Ignis.
Yeah. All right. So
Surprisingly good.
yeah, I'm gonna say, Shad, as you're kind of speaking to him, the act of trying to keep up this portrayal, right, that it's all fun and games, kind of takes your eyes off him a few moments, right? So like you're kind of back and forth with it, kind of talking to him, but you have to like make merry, so to speak. Hercian, I'm gonna say you're kind of approaching from over his shoulder, right? So like you don't necessarily see his eyes. Ignis though, with a 17, as you approach, he doesn't notice you, but you see his eyes are fixed on the exit, and based on his body kind of like the movement, his shoulders are kind of tensing up, you get the feeling he's about to essentially flip the table and run, right? He looks like he's about to do something to escape, essentially. So
okay, let's try this. Can Ignis kind of sidestep where he's sitting, just kind of he's still sitting down, just like quickly take a step and just put a hand on his shoulder and be like, maybe just sit down for a bit. Let's continue this conversation. You don't
okay, so
you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah,
like,
so
like maybe just press down like with the weight of his full weight of his armor and just like kind of hold him in place, kind of.
Okay,
So.
fair enough. Yeah, I'll say I'll say instead of when you see him start to like look like he's about to bolt, essentially, you just like right, like you just kind of step in really quick, make the last few strides instead of making them, calm and collected. You kind of quickly rush over, right? Like just 1, 2, and then you're there, and you're sitting down, and you're putting your hand on his shoulder, like, let's think about that, right? So yeah, you don't even give him the chance. Like he thinks it for like a split moment, but you see that moment, thankfully, before it, all goes to whatever it does, and you kind of rush forward, kind of putting your hand on his shoulder, and kind of, and this kind of like he sees you approach, he's like, oh fuck, because you're in the path, basically, right? You would basically be by the way that he would have to go, right? So he has to run through you, but as you kind of quickly approach, rather instead of the open path that he had moments before, you kind of sit down and push him back into his seat, right? Because you can see he's even like lifting himself up just a little bit, and you stop him from running. So yeah, he doesn't run. As you put your hand on his shoulder, he kind of sits down dejected. Shad,
He's just gonna say, oh yeah, sure, after Shad. No worries.
Shad will, at this point, message Escucho and says, Escucho, we've got a little party going on over here. Would you like to give this fellow the good word about the blessed coming of whatever the hell it is you've been going on about?
Oh no.
Oh no. How far am I away?
Then,
So as Escucho's coming over, he's Ignis just gonna like nod at Hercian and Shad. He's gonna say, so let's talk. This isn't a place of violence, clearly. So let's have a conversation.
How
Like
far am I away?
You're just a few steps away. I mean, you'd be over there in just a moment if you wanted, right? The interior of this rest house is not that bad, like that big, right? But the others are just too drunk to notice, like the little gathering that's come up in this corner, right? They're still drinking. Many of them have probably passed out where they're sitting. They've had more than enough, right? We're to the point where a majority of this party has kind of gotten to where it's gonna go, essentially. And so, yeah, you kind of quickly come over. It's a little tipsy, right? You're a little like, it takes you a moment to find your feet beneath you, but you kind of go over and sit down with the others. Ignis.
No, because I actually wouldn't sit down if possible because
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Chad said to bring the good word, and this is what Escucho will do. He will stride on over and grab the guy by both his shoulders and get really close. And that's, oh, haven't you heard? It's a good word. It's the old ones. Say return. It's finally here. It's finally here. And Escucho is shaking him a bit backwards and forwards.
Yeah. Well, he's like, oh, he's kind of like back and forth, like, what the fuck?
His time has come. The hungering starts all together. The destiny. It dies. All we bled.
Yeah.
All who died. It will be fine. It will be worth it. It will be worth it.
This scares the guy, right? Now he's like, what the fuck am I into, right? Like, he's like, holy, like, you can see this, like, wave of fear come over him. Like, it's one thing to be found out, you know? It's another thing for it's another thing for an individual that looks like Escucho does, right, to approach you talking about, you know, the time has finally come, right? The time is here. The great ones, right? The sleeping ones have returned, like the hungering star and shit. Like, this is all new. Like, this is all, you can tell this is not information that this person is privy to in the least bit. So he's like, he thinks that he is surrounded by a bunch of psychopaths at this point, right? Like, he's like, oh my god, you know, you can see that there's just this like this wave of fear on his face, right? He just kind of leans in like, all right, fine, just promise, well, you can't kill me, so you can't kill me, but he kind of states that flatly, like, you can't kill me, like he's telling himself that there's no way that you all could do that, but fine, all right, you know how valuable that stuff is. I mean, that's why you're out here. If you're out here collecting it and all that. I was gonna wait for some of these to pass on out, and then make my way to the wagons and take a couple handfuls. You know, just enough to set myself up. Nothing that they would miss. You know, I was just doing my best to make sure everybody had a good time. Maybe getting something out of it for myself.
Does Chad wanted to say anything? Oh.
Yes, I was waiting for Trill.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what he says, right? So that was the scam, right? Just get everybody drunk, have a good time, and then, you know, I don't know what that stuff looks like. I don't know how to collect it myself, or else I would. I mean, I'm just lucky to be out here at this time. I was just looking for a few handfuls to set myself for you know, a decent life.
Shad is going to reach into one of his inside pockets of his long coat, and those handfuls, and you know, he's been stuffing in his pockets on the previous session. He's going to say, he's going to pull out a pouch that he's done that. It says, well,
Gone super quiet for some reason. It's like you're cutting in and out.
Sorry, it might be I'm too far away from the mic. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay. Yeah, Shad's gonna pull a pocket pouch out that he stuffed with just handfuls that he gathered after the barrels and the saxophones.
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, this is enough to set a fellow up for on a small scale. So I might be willing to pass this over to you, but I don't think you're still being quite straight with me. You mentioned we. Who are you with? And I would like to point out that this fine fellow who's last to join us at our table is certifiably insane. I have seen him do awful things to people without killing them. They wish they were dead. Isn't that hilarious?
The herbs, they don't really matter anymore, do they? When his time has finally come.
You're
Just
right.
fall in line.
You're right.
That's right, my friend.
Also, we're medical professionals, so you know we wouldn't need to kill you. We could just make it hurt.
Uh,
None of this is done solo. You wanted to heist some herbs. You could just do it on your own because they're already drunk over here. So you have a crew, and they're here or they're nearby. So be kind enough to just tell us. Just because we can't kill you doesn't mean we can't do other horrible things and enact a lot more violence on you than your body can withstand. Please, tell us. Where's your crew? What's the plan?
Yeah, all like if this guy could sink further into his seat, he would, right? If this guy could get smaller physically, you get the feeling that he would, but he can't. And he just like, fine. Yeah, there are a couple waiting on the road ahead. And he kind of describes this location that you are all familiar with. Like you passed by it. I mean, at a quick recognition, like there's a bend in the road here, and to the left there's large rocks, and to the right is an open field. And yeah, we're gonna. None of us know how to. None of us know how to, like, what to look for with all this. I mean, if we tried, we'd probably bring back, a lot of the the scraps, the stuff that is not valuable at all, just a waste. The clippings, so to speak. So just looking to maybe tax the people who come out this way a bit. Not take everything, but enough to set us all up. I mean, they know how to collect. I mean, they could just turn right around and get some more, right? It's not a problem for them. Just a chance to... He says this, but it's like... It makes you go like, what? Like a chance to make a bit of honest coin is what he says. And, and you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, because he's talking about robbing people. Like, oh, just a chance to make some honest coin. And you're like, you're not sure if this guy is just so bold or if he's just that stupid that he thinks like this would just fly over your head, right?
So you're honest, the most honest robbers in the land, huh? That's what you are.
Exactly.
Who are you working with in the city?
In the
Because
city?
this all flows towards the city. Who are your contacts in the city?
I mean, we have somebody we could sell to, sure.
A name.
Come on, man. He kind of, he's like, come on, man. I've told you a lot. Come on, man. He's trying to plead with you here. Like,
Carson will put his hand on the other shoulder.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Start squeezing slowly, and if this guy ever tries to make eye contact, I'd like to use what is it called? It's this new feature I got. It's super fun.
The glare thing, right? The
intimidating glare.
Okay.
As you'll see just for a brief moment the eyes of a dragon in Harsion's eye.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Cause so as you kind of step forward and you put your hand onto his shoulder, right? He kind of like, you've been there kind of hovering, behind his shoulder. He hasn't really seen you this whole time. Maybe like for a brief moment. But as you like really make your presence known, as you step forward and, go ahead and roll me the intimidating glare check. I think it's just, you use demoralize. Basically, it's just a mere glare. So you just make a demoralize check, which is just I believe it's just like an intimidation check.
There we go. Does that do it?
Yeah, just roll the intimidation. This like demoralize just means...
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh man.
Oh man. Oh, as Harsia just says, a name.
Yeah. He critical success. I mean, so he's frightened too. I mean, this man is so you're gripped by fear and struggle to control your nerves. This is the description of frightened, right? And this guy, as you put your hand to his shoulder and he turns back and you, right, this intimidating glare, right? You this visage of like dragon eyes, right? This shakes him to his core and he starts to shake, like visibly shake now. Fine. One of the others, they say they know a guy named Lorenzo in the city. He'll buy everything we have. That's
is
it.
that a fact?
That's all I know. That's all I know.
Well, maybe we'll be looking for this Lorenzo when we get there ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shad is going to reach across the table and just start examining the guy's hands. He says, you know, I've always wanted a hand as a sort of medallion. Now, exactly how many people were going to be lying in ambush?
So I mean, the critical, like the natural 20 on the demoralize,
Mhm.
like the fear that grips him. I mean, he's not gonna hold anything back, right? So as he talks to you, like he's as you ask him, like how many, well, including myself, if I had a chance to make it back, that would have been 8 of us in total, 4 on each side of the road.
Well, I think this is all very interesting. Did the barkeeper get the message that?
Yeah. So you send a message to the barkeep, who is like turned and he's watching, very, very he's like a hawk, right, from the bar, right? He's still serving drinks and stuff, but a lot of the activity in the bar has kind of died down at this point. But he is watching, like ever watching, and he has like a stern look on his face. Yeah.
Chad's gonna try and catch his. Well, he's seen. He's gonna look to catch his eye and just beckon, you know, with his finger, just you know, come, just if you could.
Okay.
And he'll message at the same time. If a minute of your time.
Yeah, he'll walk over. This is the one, kind of looking to the shaking man, who has been portraying himself as drunk this whole time, but is obviously a fraud.
Oh, very much indeed. He's got a nice little surprise down the road for all your fine patrons here. I suggest we return the favour collectively, if you would. And he said to the rest of the parties. So, my fine colleagues, have we got anything else for this fine fellow,
He gave us the name, right? Just
Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Lorenzo. Yeah, okay.
Which we already know.
Yeah. In the city of Valdiras. He'll buy anything, is what he said.
If he'll buy anything, why are they?
All,
Okay, that's
all for you, because he's broke.
He's broke and somebody stole his stash. We'll figure that out later. So obviously,
That's not the word I
you're
have.
not.
That's what he says, right? That's not the word I got.
When did you last get word?
Just before coming out this way. A couple days. He'll say, like, if you've been traveling for, I don't know how long you've been traveling now. I'm just, you know. He says a day less than the amount of time you've been traveling so far. We'll say that much. By about half.
So Ignis is gonna hold on to the information for a second. He's just gonna like try and figure out what this means. But and he's like, well, obviously you can't go anywhere. So what we're gonna do is we'll keep you tied up here for the day, and somebody from the Gilded Hand is coming anyway.
Members of the
On
order
an
are on their way.
unrelated matter.
Yeah.
So you can explain your fraud to them.
I think they'll have the barkeep will speak up. I think they'll have a great time questioning one who would break the traditions of the rest houses.
Indeed.
So
Shad will say to the barkeep, would you be so good as when everybody's coming down in the morning for the breakfast and the like, just fill them in on what we've discovered and suggest that we all have a quick, I don't know, collective gathering to discuss how we can return the surprise that they planned.
yeah, I'll be sure to get the word out. For sure, I will absolutely inform the others. Obviously, they'll need a night's rest. I'll keep this one locked up, and I'll be sure to set a watch at the wagons to ensure, you know. And he looks at the guy as he says this. Nobody else has any bright ideas. And the guy would just like sheepishly kind of look down, right, trying to make himself small. And the bartender will go grab a rope, and with Hercian's help, I mean, this guy is not really able to even fight. I mean, he's surrounded by a group of people. This guy he's like, man, I'm fucked. I'm done, right? So he doesn't really even fight back as you essentially kind of hog tie him, right? Behind the back, and then hands to the feet, right? Sort of, or wrist to the feet, sort of thing. And the barkeep was just toss him in that room, and so you just take him in and just throw him in. And this is a room that is this is not a normal bedroom. As you open the door, the interior of this looks like a place for holding people, right? People who break the traditions of the rest houses, who kill in them, who steal, anything of that nature, right? So as you kind of push open the door, right, you see a spot where you can just tie him up, right? Tie him up to a wall and basically keep him in a way that he can't move or escape. So
I'll give him a don't try anything and then leave. Yeah, just to make sure he doesn't think he's too cool to try to break out.
Yeah, fair enough. He's completely demoralized. He is just nothing. What's up, Scucho?
Yes, and I would actually volunteer to watch him a little closely and tell him all about the good news. I have so much to share.
You keep watching him for the evening?
Probably not the entire evening, but I think a couple of hours.
Okay, yeah,
just tell him all about the great things that will happen to this country.
Yeah, just let me know then, whenever you need to be relieved. So, Scucho, you go in the room. Yeah, you go into this room where this guy is hog tied up and unable to escape, and you just start filling him in on the news, and in like an insane preacher fashion, right? Kind of, and this guy is just like, oh my, he doesn't
like now of the time, and he can't escape, so I would actually start from like the beginning of the lore, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, what the fuck? This guy is just like, as you kind of go into it, I mean, he's just he's not in a place to protest or escape, right? So he's stuck in this moment. But Iscujo, in your rampant fervor, maybe you don't notice that he's just like you can tell he is second guessing every decision that he's made in life that has brought him to this point, right? He's just like, oh my fucking god, right?
I actually wonder. I think like Escucho would not care, but does he actually like notice like Kazakh as a name?
No, this guy has no idea what you're talking about. So as you like launch into the spiel and like you start teaching him, maybe Escucho, as you see him like looking questioning at the whole like Kazakh thing, you're just like, oh, you don't know, right? And then you just start to go in on like filling him in exactly on who and what the Kazakh was, and its whole mission.
Like why the plague god is a good god.
Yeah, and maybe roll me a diplomacy. A diplomacy check here. Okay, yeah, he never buys into it, but that doesn't stop you at the very least. You just continue to kind of ramble into it and kind of talk to him, talk his ear off, for as long as you can. So, all right. So it's at this point the rowdiness of the interiors kind of come down to like a people are passing out, people are falling asleep, they're going to their rooms, right? The fun of the evening has come to a close, so to speak. The bartenders, cleaning up tables as they've been abandoned with, drinks and food and cups all around, right? So he's just going through, cleaning up the place. There's a few that still remain who have passed out in their seats, right? Using the table as a bed for the evening, right? Just leaned up, head in their arms, sleeping. And so, Escucho's in the room with the would-be thief, or bandit, I guess you could call him. The rest of you kind of, hanging out about. The bartender will kind of give you a look. Shad, appreciate you catching him. I would have never seen through it. I thought he was clearly with the others. I mean, he came in right behind the others, like he was with them. He's been buying drinks and celebrating all evening. Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed. So I appreciate your keen eye, Shad.
Oh, no worries at all. It was entirely happenstance. I just happened to be looking in the right direction. But I'll tell you what, my friend there, talking to him, it gives you a new appreciation of horror of being a prisoner, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, meeting in the morning then. I trust we all have rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. You all have a room for sure if you would like to rest. They were already paid for the previous evening, so you have nothing to worry about in that regard. Right? You're all set. The same rooms you had last evening. Feel free to make your way through, and he'll kind of pass out keys and stuff for everybody. Yeah, go ahead and claim whichever one you want, and I'll be sure as the others wake. If they waken before you, I'm not sure if they will. I mean, look at them, kind of motioning towards those who have like truly passed out, at the bar and stuff. Yeah, I'll do what I can to get the word to the rest of them and see if they'll stay to sharing words and all that stuff. Considering there's a threat on the road ahead, right?
I was planning a little convoy of maybe, so maybe we outnumber the bandits that I expect is still going to be there.
Yeah.
I believe this is what should be passed on.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll discuss it in the morning. But for now, have a well-deserved evening. Yeah. Get some rest. So he's kind of turns his attention away. Ignis and Hercian.
Well, if there's still just a bit of time before he should really be hitting the hay, and he'll kind of just spend some time refining his form outside. Hearing that there might be a fight tomorrow, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
He wants to make sure he's in tip-top shape and that the alcohol didn't get to him,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I get what you're saying. So, yeah, you're wanting to just ensure that you are in fighting shape. Yeah, so you go outside for a bit, swinging your weapons, right, back and forth, right, just getting a feel for them. Yeah, it feels fine. You feel like you've got a good handle on the weapon of your choice, right? And you don't feel like the drink has messed with you any, and plus you have a nice rest, so that'll be enough probably to whatever little bit that's still there. That'll be enough to kind of to pull away from whatever little bit that's ailing you still, like as far as the drink goes. You'll be fine by tomorrow's evening.
Yeah.
So all right. And Ignis.
For Ignis, I think what he's going to do, he's still, again, he's had a kind of, he's been on edge. He's still paranoid. So as Escucho takes what's his face to educate him on, he's gonna stay outside, like just outside the door, and just kind of eavesdrop a little bit, not for whatever the would-be thief is doing, but just to get to get an idea of what Escucho's preaching, because he's at this point, he's like this complete 180. So before he was just very suspicious of Ignis, and now he's just like, what is he on about? And like maybe he can ask him directly, but he just want to see what he's been like what he's preaching to the captive audience, literally. So he'll eavesdrop a little bit, and then for like an hour or two, and then he's gonna head into his room and take some notes.
Okay. Yeah. You listen a bit.
And like whatever he most of it, I don't know if it'll trigger for him, but he'll note it down and then it's like prepare a report of like spend some of the night to prepare a report of the journey so far, like wrap it up in the scrolls for his order when he gets back.
Perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, you finish up, take the time, head down. Head to your room, take some notes, and then call it an evening. And so as the evening kind of draws close to everybody, Scooter, you've spent a good chunk of hours, right? Enough that you can still get a decent night's sleep for the rest of the evening. So you spend a couple of hours talking this poor captive's ears off with the news of everything, and when you kind of finally reach the end, he looks up at you and he's like, is it over? Like, are you done now? And he's like appreciative that it's come to a close, right? Like thank goodness, like it's, oh Jesus.
Yeah, this should serve as a primer, and now you can think about it, sleep about it, and really look inside your heart for when his time will come, and then all will be made equal.
Yeah.
And then Escucho will leave.
You leave. You make it to your room and you call it an evening as well. Just get some sleep.
Escucho had a great day.
Yeah, a great day, absolutely. So, you sleep, and while you sleep, the four of you, go ahead and give me a rest for the night. So, okay, so.
Wait, it says no longer wounded for some reason now.
Yeah, that should not be the case.
Yeah, if you might wanna
Do that for me.
Yeah, I just put rest and.
Well, I think you rested a couple of times, right? So you're at 2, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Put him back, and then let me make sure Shad's in. Okay, Shad's is good.
Yeah,
too.
no, I've still got the one.
All right, perfect. So yeah, you all have a decent night's sleep. As you awaken, kind of one by one, stumbling out into the tavern, you approach, right? You kind of approach, and you see that the bartender, true to his word, has indeed kept these. All of them are kind of nursing headaches. They're drinking coffee now, right? They're not drinking beer or anything like that. They're nursing the headache that they've gotten. So there's a bunch of them eating food, right? Trying to sweat the demons out, so to speak, right, from the previous night's evening. Shad.
In a completely inappropriate volume, Shad is going to say, "Well, good morning to you all, fellas. Boy, have I got news for you. You should have heard what we uncovered last night in the revelry." He's going to watch to see how many of them are grown, clutching their heads.
Yeah. Many of them are like, "Oh Christ," like, okay, quiet. Yeah. We got it. We had a good evening, right? And so, yeah, it absolutely gets to a lot of them. But yeah, you all kind of come out, joining, in the morning's affairs. The group of all of these kind of gatherers, like collectors, of the regents and stuff. Yeah, they're all looking in not the best shape, but they're present, So, the bartender will kind of point you out, Shad. This is the one who caught the one that was going to try to, break the laws of tradition and, rob from all of you, as well as on the road ahead. They got information that there's a few more waiting in the path. So you can thank him, and it kind of points you out, Shad. And people will nobody will like get up and thank you, but they'll look to your way and kind of give you a nod, right? He had an idea that he wanted to share, maybe something about. I'm not sure what it was, but go ahead. He kind of motions you forward, Chad, to go ahead and speak.
The unsavory fellow that is currently regretting his life choices. Oh, it's good show. Maybe you should wake him up and further his education. What do you say?
That's a great idea. We'll see how much he has chose the old ones in his heart.
I think that's a very good idea.
Ignis is gonna follow along with the Scucho because at this point he's just like, why are people like this? He's just gonna grumble and mutter and follow.
Arshian's gonna lean over to Shad. Is breaking the code of safe houses that's awful?
Oh no, I'm just doing this for shits and giggles.
It is though.
Yeah.
He had his chance with me, and he lost. So, fellas, this bumstick on the in the back room, he's told me that there's 7 other blokes waiting down the road at a fork. Is it the place where we encountered the zombies or the bears?
I think the tent, maybe the tent area, or
Yeah, probably.
It would kind of be roughly just after where you camped for the bears, where the bear stuff happened, right?
So
it would be after that.
This fella, he spilled it all. He didn't. It's terrible lack of character on his part. But he spilled it all, and apparently it's supposed to be him and 7 other fellas waiting to ambush wagons as they head back to the city. Now I propose that we go together and, well, let's have numbers on our side and repay the surprise that was intended. What do you say?
And a lot of them will kind of look around to each other, and I'll say as this is happening, Scucho, you've kind of head back and grabbed him from the room, right? Kind of pulled him up.
Well, how well did he perform on the quiz?
Yeah, he's like, you ask him, and he does get a few things right, because it's hard for him to miss, as far as many times as you've kind of repeated certain stress points, right? Like, you really have to know this, right? He gets those, but the other ones that are bit more minute, he kind of he doesn't land. But in any case, as you kind of grab him, kind of pull him up, he's like, he looks in a rough shape. I mean, he's basically slept the evening, what little he could, with his arms tied behind his back, tied to his legs, right? So he hasn't been in the best of positions to get a decent night's sleep, and he's been left on the hard floor, so he's in rough condition. But either way, you kind of get him, you start to bring him to the front room. But many of these guys in the rest house kind of look around one to each other. One of them will kind of speak up. I mean, talking to you, Shad, we are not warriors. I mean, we can help, I guess, but many of us don't even really carry weapons like that. We could provide our numbers, but we're simple, gatherers.
Well, I would say that collectively we're stronger than we are. You're going by one. This fella suggested that he wanted to take a little bit of every single wagon, which means he doesn't matter who you are, whether you're first or last. He was looking to take your hard work from you. Now, that kind of thing would piss me off. And
yeah,
us 4, we're fairly handy. Apart from the doctor here, he tends to die a lot.
They look at each other like, what the that doesn't, like, you're trying to sell them on this idea, and they're just like a little like, okay. Well, one of them was, well, what about this, what if we rode as a caravan, and you all, since you are so capable, worked as our guard.
You know what? That is a fine idea. You drive a hard bargain, but I'm convinced. Now, should we discuss payment?
Sure, yeah. From here to the city, considering what we have, I mean, we can give you payment in the regions that we've collected. There's surely to be more to be gathered along the way, which we could fill the wagons with.
Well, I think that's very fair. What do you fine fellows say to that?
Yeah. At this point, Escucho, you've kind of brought over the scoundrel that would have attempted to rob them all. Kind of, maybe you tossed him to the ground like in front of everybody, or have you are you kind of like, how are
Maybe
you
the
treating
prize
him?
No,
pupil.
like I definitely like pushed him forward, but I'm like still like kind of whispering in his ear and like, don't forget, after this happened, Kazak brought this plague upon and their bile turned black.
He's like, please stop, just please stop, stop telling me these things. But yeah, you kind of toss him forward. Yeah, and at this moment, Scotia, you've essentially heard what the offer is, right? Like these people are simple gatherers, right? Farmers in their own like these people aren't necessarily warriors. I mean, they probably have like a hoe or like maybe like a side like a Sith that could be useful like in battle, but maybe a shovel, right? But these people aren't necessarily like the types to be going to battle, but they've essentially offered like, well, we'll move as a caravan, so we have the numbers on our side, but you four would work as their guard at least past the point of the bandits, right? Maybe it doesn't even have to be all the way to the city.
Yes, it's definitely good to have more people around to spread and teach the good word now that this time has come. Good thinking, Chad.
I'm full of good ideas. Oh shit, what have I done?
Yeah, exactly. yeah. Look at it. Oh shit! And then, yeah, a few of them kind of give each other looks like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Well, fine then. Sorry. We'll pay you in some more regions if you allow us to gather along the way, and we'll approach maybe as a large number. The bandits wouldn't be so bold as to attempt to rob us or anything, right? Maybe they'll see the numbers and just let us pass. Either way, we'll pay you a bit, and then once we're past the point that he said they should be at, then we can go our separate ways, as you wish. Is that fine?
Seems
That
fair.
sounds like the spirit.
Okay then. Well, the rest of us want to be in Valdiras soon. What about you all?
That is also where we're headed. So
Okay. One of them speaks up. One of the group speaks up. Oh, we're actually heading the opposite direction. We're going to Terrius. So
well, if you're going to Terrius, then there are going to be wary of the road. We'll say we're coming
Yeah.
back
Look
from
out
the
for squirrels.
Yeah, we took
They're terribly feisty at this time of year.
Yeah, we took this path knowing what it was. So you all have the best of luck. So one of the wagons will essentially bow out of this, right? Because they're going the opposite direction. They're not joining along. So that they're maybe even maybe as the revelation that it's like in the direction of Valdiras comes up, like maybe there's like this off, man, what the fuck? Like, why, like they had hoped that they were told previously, now they feel like they wasted their time. Because they all kind of get up and they're just like, all right, we're gonna head on out then. And they say thanks to the barkeep and kind of make their way out. But there are two wagon groups, right? So with yours, that'd be 3 wagons traveling kind of in a pseudo kind of caravan, making your way back to Valdiras. The other 2 will kind of stand up. Well, we're ready to leave now, so we can get our things ready, and we'll be out at the wagons, ready to head forward whenever you guys are. So they all make their way out, and the 4 of you, is there any last thing you want to do while you have the opportunity in the rest house, or are you basically just heading on outside, getting the wagon ready and departing?
The young person I spoke to first, is he among our group?
yeah, the one
He's my first victim.
Okay, yeah, so you go up to him. Yeah. Fair enough.
The group that was going the other way, Shad will call them. Well, on your road over to Terrius, If you see an ugly-looking red bastard, call him a fucker for me.
Do you want them to die?
I couldn't care less.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, that's a very
That's a bit rude.
it's a very honest moment from Shad. Maybe it like, what the fuck? Really? You don't care? But so Escucha, yeah, you kind of follow the others out, right? You're out there and you're already starting to talk one off. He's like, the guy's like listening, like, but he's like, you can tell he's drunk, and he's not drunk, but he's hungover, right? So he's kind of like, okay, yeah, and so kind of,
Yeah, the hungering started. He will come back, and then all the land will know his warmth.
he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna be with them. If you want to travel with your friends and stuff, so he's like, kind of doing his best to kind of shuck you off. It's like, like, yeah, I did. Like, I'm gonna be traveling with these guys. I'm sure you have to lead the wagon, don't you? Like, all this stuff.
Oh no, they're like it depends if the party beckons me over.
Fair enough.
Or
Yeah.
not.
So, so the rest of you, if there's nothing left in the rest house that you are looking to, you head your way out. You all get the cart ready. Escucho has unfortunately been the one driving the cart most of the time. Does that change in this moment to give him the opportunity to sit with one of the other wagons, or do you want him with you all up front as the personal guard?
I think Escucho, like our wagon's gonna be up front, right? If there's
Yeah, it
three
would
wagons.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be.
In this case, Ignis would probably recommend, it's 3 wagons. We may want to split 2 front, 2 back, in case, just to be on the safe side, because we don't know for sure that they'll be attacking from the front.
Oh,
So-
fair enough.
Yeah,
And
yes,
he's
yes.
gonna-
I will sit on the back. I have so much to share.
Christian will sit in the front,
Ignis is gonna sit in the back with Escucho, or nearby, partly to look out, partly because his eyes are slowly just getting fried from all the revelations. They're just like, you know what? Let me just listen to all I can hear, and then I'll have to go report to my bosses when I get back anyway.
Okay. So you listen in as much as you can, right? Trying to draw as much information from the well that is Escucho.
The ocean.
Yeah, the ocean that is Escucho, right? So who is leading the cart up front?
Shad and Hersian, I guess.
Shad and
Yeah.
Hersian up front, and Escucho and Ignis in the back. Okay. So yeah, you're able to Escucho to stay with this individual and to continue to to discuss all of this, right?
Yeah.
And so you continue on the path forward, and you're able to make decent time. It seems that these farmers have also learned the tricks of the trade, as they have also fed their horses a bit, so they're able to keep up and pay attention, or sorry, keep in line with the cart. Like, so even at the higher speed that you're traveling at, all 3 wagons are able to keep at the same pace and pressure themselves forward. So as you approach from a distance, you can see the familiar large rocks to the left, the open field to the right. This is where it should have been. This is where you were told. This is where the ambush was set to be. And so as you approach, eyes peeled. Oh, right. And while traveling, Shad, give me a perception check. Yeah, there's a few. You're able to get a couple.
Excellent. What? Just with his sling, he just wants to knock a few rabbits off and collect their bodies.
Yeah, for sure. In passing, you're able to, every now and then the wagon caravan will kind of stop so they can go kind of gather some more, right? Essentially your payment at this point. They're also filling up the wagon themselves for their own, but they're, you can see that they're deliberately putting aside like yours, and they're kind of showing you all like, here, like this is where your stuff is, right? Putting its own into its own sack. Shad, you're able to, in passing, while doing so, you will say 2 rabbits you're able to knock off and collect their bodies, right? So go ahead and get a couple of decent rabbits, whether they be for stewing or what have you, they will work. And so as you approach, you see it up ahead, the place that the attempted ambush, the taxing, the whatever you want to call it, the thievery was set to be. And it is right in your line of sight, not 50 feet away from you. And I think now is a good time to pause and pick up here next week. So, nice. I'm going to go ahead and sign on the stream and everything, but appreciate you guys for playing. It was definitely very enjoyable, and I'll be back in just a second. So, 1 second. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back tomorrow to continue our Wednesday campaign, Stagnant Waters. Little brief intermission kind of episode, or session as we approach the final little arc to finish off the campaign. That might be a couple of sessions, it might be 1 session, 2 session, who knows. We'll see when we get there. But either way, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to get involved, as we are coming to an end with this cycle of campaigns, whether they be on either any day of interest, the best place to be is in the Discord, as that is the place I reach out to first whenever I am recruiting for the next cycle. So if you're interested, you'd like to get involved, you'd like to play, that's the place to be. If not, all is well. Either way, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow as we continue our Wednesday campaign. So hope you guys have a good one. Thank you all for hanging out, and maybe we'll see you next time. Peace.